When you take a look at the Smash roster, you're guaranteed to find at least one character whose home series you recognize, from obvious ones like Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, and Fire Emblem who feature multiple representatives, to not as prominent but still well-known franchises like Metal Gear Solid, to Castlevania, to Star Fox. Part of what attributes to the success of Smash is the recognizability of its characters. Amidst all of these high-profile examples are some very obscure ones that, while perhaps back then have had their own personal brand, no longer do so due to being part of a time long since past. Among them would be Mr. Game & Watch, a character with the most peculiar moveset. Despite having been around since Melee, he's never been the highest performing or most popular in the game. But following some of the most drastic buffs ever given to a character in the history of the franchise, Game & Watch has become a notorious fighter, presently ranking number 3 in the official tier list, a placement that few, if any, would disagree with. Predictably, like most of Ultimate's top tiers, the reputation Game & Watch has is far from positive. While not as infamous as the fighter's past 2 characters, many remark on the experience of going up against him to feel obnoxious to say the least. For our next episode of Why Everyone Hates, we'll be looking through Game & Watch to find out why people dislike fighting him. When picturing a top tier, what are some traits you associate with them that make them deserving of that caliber? For some, it could be good stats like speed, frame data, kill power, or some combination of them. For others, it could be special properties unique only to them that skew the game state in a way no other character is able to. Ideally, the more something you have and the more coverage you have, the stronger you'll likely be. But when taking a deep dive into Game & Watch's kit, you'll find that he might be the most uncharacteristic top tier in the game. Many thought the same way. During the early days of Ultimate, believe it or not, he was once considered bottom 10. How can a character go from bottom 10 to basically one of the best in the game, despite having only gotten 2 small buffs between then and now? For starters, let's evaluate what I mean by him being the most unusual top tier in the game. From a physics and attribute perspective, Game & Watch in theory should be deserving of a poor standing in the meta. He's tied for the 3rd lightest character in the game and can easily explode from a strong attack even at mid percents. Secondly, while he does have good airspeed, it's compensated by being very floaty and also having mediocre ground movement across the board. Ordinarily, most lightweight characters are defined by their incredible mobility. Pichu, Jigglypuff, Fox, Sheik, and so on. Game & Watch is sort of the opposite. He doesn't win any awards in terms of movement. Furthermore, while a small character in stature, people don't often find that to be an issue compared to actual small characters like Pikachu. Frame data wise, while he does have a few attacks that are extremely quick, compared to rushdown fighters who are defined by their boxing capability, Game & Watch is not a boxer at all, with most of his attacks, even normals, pushing around 9 to 10 frames. So, if on paper he looks underwhelming, why does everyone consider him overwhelming? Well, there's a 3rd and 4th reason for why people would label a character top tier. How easily they can escape a disadvantageous situation, and how easily they can keep their opponents in one. If there's any character besides Steve who has this and then some, it would be Game & Watch. When looking through the videos on the best move of each type, you'll find that Game & Watch covers not just 1, or 2, or 3, but potentially up to half a dozen move types, not necessarily because those moves have the best kill power or best frame data, rather the consequences of getting hit by them are so detrimental for Game & Watch's opponent that they cannot directly challenge it and also have to respect it. The problem is that in most situations pertaining to Game & Watch, if you get put in one of them, there's physically nothing you can do to extract yourself out of it. At the same time, there's nothing you can do to prevent yourself from being put in that situation to begin with. In other words, damned if you do, damned if you don't, and very few characters in Smash can pull this off as consistently as Game & Watch. He has just the right set of attacks and abilities to functionally invalidate any strength you might have, while simultaneously preventing you from exploiting any of his weaknesses. He's essentially the Steve before Steve came out. Addressing the most conspicuous flaw with Game & Watch, his weight. It's true that hitting him with a remotely strong attack like a Falcon back air, Wario forward tilt, Terry burn knuckle, or Sephiroth forward tilt would destroy him if you were anywhere close to the ledge. The question is if you can even create a situation to reliably land those moves. For starters, Game & Watch is bar none with no caveat, no asterisk, the hardest character to pressure in the game, courtesy of 3 moves, down air, up B, and down B. Floaty characters often have issues with getting juggled on account of how long it takes for them to reach the ground, but Game & Watch has a stall and fall with a disjoint so massive it practically beats most anti-airs. Furthermore, it's one of the only stall and falls that can actually be guided. Other stall and falls go straight down or maybe in a diagonal fashion like Sheik and Zero Suit, but Game & Watch can maneuver his down air quite reliably, choosing to go forward or backward, giving the Game & Watch player a good way to mix up how he wants to land, on top of the massive disjoint protecting him from most anti-airs. Pressuring him through projectiles is also just not an option. Following the reflector they gave to his bucket, he can absorb energy projectiles to then use as a frame 2 one-shot depending on what it picks up, and any physical projectiles just get reflected, so you can't even punish his otherwise poor approach game since oftentimes you have to approach him, which brings me to his most iconic attack. The whole experience of a glass cannon is a very push and pull one. You have the potential to deal extreme amounts of damage, but it's kept in check by being at risk of exploding just as easily yourself. Glass cannons tend to have good added shield options as a natural consequence of their incredible frame data. It's difficult to keep a Pichu, Fox, or Sheik in shield pressure for too long, but there's still always that ever-present fear of exploding if you parry incorrectly or get shield poked or things of that nature. Game & Watch is the only glass cannon who doesn't really have to worry about that. Not just because of the fact that he is uncontestably the best added shield option in the form of fire, but fire is also potentially the best up B in the game for escaping bad situations. The startup invincibility offered to him on his way up allows you to preemptively use it to challenge anyone coming at you from above, or calling you out with the rising aerial, a luxury other upwards up Bs like Cloud, Bayonetta, and such don't have. Then there's also the sheer verticality of the move, combined that with Game & Watch's floatiness in the air stall on Bucket, and despite having a fairly lousy ledge hang in that his nose and arm both poke above the ledge, edge guarding or two-framing him can be pretty inconsistent, especially given that Game & Watch can intentionally overshoot the ledge to doink you if you try to down air or down tilt him. He can use up B to escape combos if they're slightly untrue, or he can also up B and then try to come back down with down air. All circumstances in which his opponent would have a strong chance of racking up damage on him or scoring the finishing blow, Game & Watch can navigate his way out of very easily. It's not like Fox where you can myrtleize him as he tries to recover, or Pichu being the most two-frameable character in the game. In essence, Game & Watch is a glass cannon, but in contrast to others, his glass is bulletproof. On to the second part of the equation, him putting you in a bad situation and keeping you in a bad situation forever. People tend to think of Kazuya as the you have to let him do his thing because you can't challenge any of his moves character, but I feel like that title belongs more to Game & Watch. Another trait that's an orthodox stab on a glass cannon is range and coverage. Most if not all squishies have to put themselves at risk to apply pressure due in part to their stubby hitboxes. Game & Watch is small, but he carries range on par with if not outright exceeding even sword fighters. Seeing as he fights with different weaponry, from a chair to a manhole to a couple hammers to a fishbowl to a bomb to a snapping turtle to a key to a frying pan, man, this guy's got a lot of weird moves. The vast majority of Game & Watch's attacks are disjointed, and they last a long time, enabling him to threaten space without having to be very precise about it. Forward tilt, 13 active frames, dash attack, 11, up smash, 4, all of which are strong, down smash, 5, neutral air. I honestly can't be bothered to count because all of his aerials last forever. Point being, Game & Watch has big hitboxes, especially for a fighter of his archetype that also linger for a long time and are disjointed, making you have to simply respect that space and whiff punish him during the small moments of vulnerability he has. These attributes are what make him feel like one of the best edge guarders and jugglers in the game. From a juggling perspective, he is by far the best up air among the cast. I go on record to consider Game & Watch's up air as the best up air in the game, or at the very least top 3. This one singular move has a better juggling game than some entire characters, and he can also juggle with neutral air's extreme vertical disjoint, both of which can be enabled easily by virtue of up B sending you straight upwards. In terms of edge guarding, this guy has it made. For starters, up B can be used to doink anyone with a bad recovery, as the hitbox on Game & Watch himself sends you outwards, and once again you cannot try to contest him with an aerial on your way back to stage because he's intangible during his ascent. If you want something a bit stronger, he can do falling back air to put up a wall of hitboxes in front of you, intercepting anyone who has to recover linearly, or alternatively he can use forward air to safely put hazardous kill pressure off stage. He might not be able to kill you right away, but he can keep you in disadvantage forever and make it painfully difficult for you to recover unless you're one of those characters who can get back to ledge from any distance or in a number of ways. But even if you do make it back to ledge, dash attack is one of the easiest two-framing attacks in that all you have to do is guess the general time frame of your opponent recovering and throw it out. It's active for 11 frames, that's a very generous window. Or if it's a character who recovers directly from below, Game & Watch can use his down air to edge guard you instead if you want something a bit stronger. But okay, let's assume you can get through all attempts to edge guard and then all attempts to two-frame you. Think you're in the clear? Absolutely not. You then have to deal with the single best ledge trapping tool in the game, Neutral B. This move covers every single ledge option in the game. It covers neutral get up because by the time you stand up you either get struck by an existing projectile in your space or you have to shield, at which point he can grab you and throw you back off stage. It covers get up attack in that you can't even do this option to begin with when Game & Watch is standing at roll distance. The frying pan itself has an active hitbox which can hit anyone who tries to roll get up. If you position the ammo correctly, it can cover anyone who tries to jump, and it even covers ledge hang because the food is falling off stage. Again, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. This move is better at ledge trapping than some entire characters, and it does so much damage too. Whether juggling you or edge guarding you, even if he doesn't kill you, he can at least put mad damage on you and put you in a 90-10 situation, whereas other characters can only do 60-40 or 70-30 at most. So if Game & Watch flat out cannot be cornered or forced to approach you, and he has a practically uncontestable advantage state, that means the one place you should be able to deal with them in is neutral, correct? Yes, in the sense that despite having anti-zoning tools, Game & Watch does ultimately have to get up close to attack you. He doesn't have a camping tool of his own. Additionally, while Game & Watch has big hitboxes, he doesn't have good approaching hitboxes. For example, he doesn't have a burst movement option like Terry Crackshoot or Steve Minecart or Bayonetta Afterburner Kick or anything of that sort, making his neutral game fairly telegraphed in that he has to basically charge at you with either a dash attack or a rising nair or back air, which most of the cast can prepare to whiff punish, especially considering Game & Watch can't auto-cancel any of his aerials in a short hop or fast fall. So his approach game's pretty lackluster. The main issue is, you have to approach him as well. Few characters can reliably attack Game & Watch in a way that doesn't at least make them susceptible to getting hit by his stuff, and as we've established before, it's kinda difficult to not get hit by his attacks when they have massive coverage. It's tough for even sword fighters to outspace Game & Watch, let alone close quarters characters who have to get up in his face. And if it's a contest of who accidentally runs into whose attacks more often, Game & Watch once more has the advantage. Do you think it's a coincidence that Meister or even Mia throws out a random up smash in neutral here or there? Depending on what you value, it's the best up smash in the game, functionally unusable as an added shield option, but next to Captain Falcon's, if and when Game & Watch players go for an up smash, you have to basically stay the hell away from him, as it offers full body intangibility, has a very ambiguous hitbox, and is -6 on shield with only 13 frames of end lag. The risk of challenging this move is just not worth it, even if you're trying to whiff punish it, and it also just kills you at like 90. This move is horseshit. Speaking of horseshit moves, down smash is also the best of its kind. This move is the best spot dodge punish, the best tech chase punish, the best jab block punish, the best roll habit punish, the best punish tool, period. Getting hit by down smash at mid% results in a free charged forward smash that kills you at like 70, even at center stage. It's also decently good at catching landings due to the sour spot sending you at the worst angle possible and the aerial target hitbox killing you extremely early as well. As you can see, a running trend with Game & Watch's moveset is that each individual attack in his kit has a billion different use cases. Up special is not just a recovery, it's a get off me tool, it's a reset tool, it's a combo starter, it's an edge guarding tool, and even a combo finisher. Up smash is not just a strong kill option, but a strong anti-air, a safe kill move to spam in neutral, and a good shield pressure tool. Forward air is not just a kill move, but a zone control tool, a block string tool, a whiff punish tool, an edge guarding tool, etc. Down air is an anti-juggling tool, a neutral reset tool, an edge guarding tool. I think you get the point. The fundamental reason why people hate Game & Watch is that he has one of the most overloaded kits in the game. Every single attack just does so much and can cover so much, sometimes in a way that effectively invalidates entire characters. He might have a hard time killing you conventionally, but it's compensated by extremely brainless edge guarding and damage tracking capability. He might be at risk of exploding at low %, but it's compensated by it being nearly impossible for you to pressure him in the first place. He might have a hard time approaching, but it's compensated by covering and threatening a ton of space while he approaches. For most of the cast, fighting him is like navigating a minefield. Multiple times over. You can get past one minefield, but then there's another one, and then another one, and then another one. There's never a moment where you have a clear advantage over him. You can picture it almost like modern day Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Attacks go through protect and ignore stat buffs. This card can't be destroyed in battle, can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects, can't be kaiju'd over, can attack you 10 times in one turn, stuff like that. I feel like Game & Watch is the personification of the random bullshit go meme. I mean, for crying out loud, he fights with a bucket, a turtle, a frying pan, a sewer manhole, an air pump, a fishbowl. Like, this guy just throws random stuff at you and beats you to death with it. It's funny, but also lame as hell. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Game & Watch? Do you agree or disagree with my points? Let me know in the comments down below. For now though, if you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Vars, join my Discord server, and why not check out my video on why everyone hates Luigi if you haven't yet, and also leave your suggestions on who you think I should cover next. But till next time, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.
Most of them have been getting punished at this point. I feel like game 1 he was nairing, game 2 he started grabbing and it worked, and now Lucio is kind of just starting to figure it out.
I mean, especially with that game too, that's those 3 grabs like you mentioned on each one of those stocks, but Gluto making this adjustment here, but at 103, 116?
This could be the end of the tournament coming on up, guys. Could be maybe closing it out. Yeah, there you go. Chef F. Schultz.
All right.